Dick Whitney, and it's May of 2014, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be talking about the events of the Optical Heritage Museum, and now that we are open in Crane Street, Southbridge. We're open by appointment at this point only because we're all volunteer. There's no appointment, but I would like to show you in this upcoming 10 minutes a little bit of what is in the museum. First, I want to thank Zeiss, who was the primary sponsor for this museum. Carl Zeiss Vision, which is an entity that AO was a part of now, and I've been employed with. We have a board, thanks to Carl Zeiss Vision, and those are the members. Several of them are Zeiss employees. We even have treasurer is Alan McKinley there, and you may have heard recently he's brought his manufacturing back from China to Southbridge in AO Eyewear on Ashland Avenue. And these are some of the board members. Recently, we were highlighted on Channel 3 cable, and after this video, for those cable watchers, I'll be showing that video. This was done, and it's a nice 2-minute video highlighting what is in the museum as a hidden treasure in Southbridge. Moving along, the background of the museum was founded in 1983 at the 150th anniversary. We are a 501c3, and we accept donations. Primarily, however, Zeiss sponsorship. Karen Roberts and Joachim Kuss visited in 2012. They're from Zeiss, and Karen was instrumental in arranging Zeiss funding. Interestingly, Zeiss, AO, and Bosch and Lohm met. The executives met in Rochester, Southbridge, and Germany in 1907, so there's a long heritage. Last year, the first item I moved into the museum was the Beecher case. Beecher founded American Optical in 1833. And it's been a year of progression of work to bring the museum to where we are. I have to thank the board, and especially Donna Silverberg, our curator, who spent probably 7 years volunteering. You see Karen and also my co-worker, Janine McElroy. She's with Zeiss and also very helpful in many aspects of the museum. We met in November of 2013 on an opening. Diane Maddock, a board member, had her Mass Opticians annual meeting in Southbridge, and our soft opening was at that point. You see a timeline of industry of Southbridge along one of the walls, and Donna Silverberg's worked on that. This is the entrance to the American Optical Room. You'll see instruments, fiber optics, Todd A.O., Dr. Tillier, Dr. Glancy, many items in that room, which is the door on the right, as you see as you enter from the River Walk entrance. We have 2 entrances, but the River Walk is handicapped access. This is part of a display that Diane Maddock did for that opening in November, and it's mid-century modern, 1950s, 1960s eyewear. Another collection of about 40 items is Dr. David Fleischman, who's been helping us on the museum as well. He's the world expert on antique spectacles. If you go to antiquespectacles.com, you'll find a wealth of information. Included in this collection are the Beecher and Amadown frames made in Southbridge in 1830s. This is the Opticians Association of America on loan. Diane Maddock again arranged for this display, and the national group is displaying their items. John Young, a friend and the first curator of the museum, sent us some display items, and here's Donna putting them up. She's very talented, as you can see, does a wonderful job at each of the cases that we've done. It's painstaking work, and again, I have to thank everyone who's been volunteering. We now have about 7 or 8 volunteers that come weekly, generally on Thursdays, and I'm just thrilled with the response we're getting. This room is our special collections, and again there's another display of John Young's items that he sent recently for the museum display. It's a lot of unique eyewear, and it's really quite something. Speaking of unique, the lens frame on the left is one of the most unusual. It has flip down side shields and also frontage. This is the Steuben glass. Lyle Rubin from Corning Glass is holding it recently, but Corning donated that item in 1983 for the opening, and he came back and saw it. This is some of the frame making devices. The one on the left was invented by George Wells in the late 1800s. In the AO room, we have a display honoring Doc Tillier, who lived on Maple Street and a world-renowned scientist and one of the very famous people at American Optical. We have silverware and china used in the kitchen and for special luncheons at American Optical. This is Dr. Glancy's display. She worked with Doc Tillier, but is a world-renowned physicist and lens designer hired in 1916. We have AO memorabilia in the hallway. There's a display. Some of you may recognize some of those items, but it's really quite unique. This is setting up in October. We were getting ready for the November event, and there you see working on the Tillier display. As you enter from the riverside, we are expanding these photos, but people of American Optical, I think it's quite interesting to see that display. And again, I guess I have a second picture of the Tillier display I put together, but Donna really artistically did it. This is Diane Maddock working on her display at the time. I think that was in November, and this is in the general hallway that we have. In this antique spectacle room, Donna Silverberg, being an artist, did that little display, actually a woman holding some antique eyewear. We even have Southbridge memorabilia, and this is the Southbridge display of a number of items, including the coins and items from the 1966 sesquicentennial. Looking down the hallway, I think you can get a sense that this is a big area. We have, I believe, 7 rooms, and I'm really thrilled with the way it's come out. This is a look at how some of the eyewear is made for spectacle frames, metal spectacle frames at American Optical. Again, there's the eye-wire device that George Wells invented on the left, and a gold display case of how the frames are made. You will see here some of the instruments in American Optical. Those alarms on the left were the first fire alarms in Southbridge. Actually, they were in one of the plants at American Optical. And those devices, off-axis lensometer, I used early in my career, but it was used for the masterpiece lens to measure the quality of the lens as you look off-center. This is the Beecher case, at least attributed to Beecher, that I was bringing in, and those were actually journals from the 1840s, 50s, 60s, original journals that we have. Again, the lensometers, invented by AO and first sold around 1920, and the first one at the very top is a 1914 pre-sale model. But American Optical invented and developed the lensometer, which basically still is being used today to measure lens power. Moving along, there's another view of the lensometers, and that brown case in the middle is the trial set of actually the lenses used to calibrate them. And Doc Tillier calibrated them at the Bureau of Standards before he came there in 1916. And they're a very unusual set. So this is kind of a view of the AO room, only one of many. And I want it understood that we have other devices on display. We have the Todd AO first film from the movie Oklahoma, and the fiberscope, and even the key to the CIA room, which is shown in that video. This is Will Hicks, who visited in November, and he was brought to town by the CIA. I think you can see that the displays we have are varied, and I think there'll be something of interest for every one of you that when you come to the museum. We're doing a lot of restoration, scanning, and preserving of the heritage. These are examples of the Rockwell paintings. There were 6 AO Rockwells, and we're now in touch with the Norman Rockwell Museum, and hopefully to do something more in that regard. This is the antique spectacle room that Donna almost single-handedly organized and put together, and I think it's very unique in the collection that you see in the museum. This is also Donna's display of Dr. Fleischman's kind of the evolution of how spectacles evolved over time from in the antique period. This is now looking down into the next room from the antique spectacles. We have safety eyewear, lenses, and on display. This was a gift from Sally Schauer, George Schauer's daughter, to me a number of years ago, and they're actually sunglasses, Eskimo sunglasses. This is a 1880s vision tester, and it's a very unique device, and again on display at the museum. This is the corner that shows the 4 original Herman Stoops paintings, and note that desk with a chair next to it. I worked on that desk at American Optical doing tumble testing, and just recently discovered that it and most everything there is in one of the paintings. So I was quite excited. Donna and I discovered that last fall, and was stunned to learn that. And again, you see the vision tester on the shelf along with trial sets and other antique items. Even clocks are on display. Looking at the corner, there's the desk that I told you I worked on, and it's in the paintings, one of the 4 original paintings that are widely asked about. They're online on eBay a lot. This is going back to the spectacle rooms and the case from the World War I vintage period. And note that Donna did research to show not only the frames, but actually people wearing them or advertising, and it's, I think, very professionally done. And again, I'm excited for others to come see it. Here's another frame, period. And these were the original cases from the museum, but we've restored and updated each display. So again, I'm very excited for people to see the work that has been done in the last year to bring this display together. This is there are actually 2 restored pictures, and the one on the lower right was published in Eye Care Business nationally, and it shows workers at AO, and only the men in the foreground have coffee cups, which was pointed out. I don't know if that's coincidence or not. Again, here's one of the antique spectacle display cases, and very, very unique. But again, for those not interested in spectacles, we have much more, as I think you can tell, and we're looking to foster the local history as well. This is a safety eyewear item collection, and American Optical was in the forefront of developing safety protection, eye protection for wearers, going back to Julius King when they purchased and developed the eyewear, the safety business in the 1930s. But here's again one of the mid-century modern displays of Diane's, a little closer view, and she's done a lot to restore a lot of digitizing of work, so my thanks to Diane. She even restored for Victory Optical some of their advertising that they had lost in the fire, and we actually had retained. This is Dr. Bernie Groman's non-contact tonometer, the first one. It's the puff of air that you all are aware of when they test for glaucoma. Unfortunately, he was killed by a car about 10 years ago. We're working on a display for the Glass Executive line, the longest running lenses made at AO from 1953 to 2005. This is an order that JFK sent to American Optical, and AO received it the day he was shot, which gives me chills when I think about it. Don Nicholson here working on cleaning one of the items and inventorying it, and he was involved in the museum at its outset in 1983. Again, some more antique items that are in the paintings that I discussed previously, and I think you can see it's an extensive collection. This is a 1940 painting showing a worker's eye was saved by those safety glasses, and the break in the glass saved the eye. It's one of the many original paintings we have on display, and this is a unique one, I think, industrial eyewear protection. I also have a career background in impact testing, and those are polycarbonate lenses on the left, shot by a quarter-inch ball at 500 miles per hour. And you can see how that trapped the ball. On the left in this display are lenses that have been impacted with a 5/8 inch steel ball dropped from a height of 50 inches. That's an FDA requirement today for all lenses. This display, I find the item that I think is going to be zoomed in on that one is a 1940s World War II camouflage lens. I think so you could view camouflage under different colors to pick it out. This is the safety display. Again, we have a lot of safety eyewear in particular, and it's quite unique to show its evolution. This is the drop ball unit again, impact testing. The blue unit is something that AO first started selling in 1972 when the law was put into effect by Richard Nixon signing it. Drop ball, 5/8 inch ball has to be, lenses have to be capable of impacting that ball from a height of 50 inches. Going back to some of the frames on display, I think as you can see, we have quite a variety, and I'm very excited by how they're displayed because there's something about each one. There's even advertising on display. The upper left is one of the Rockwell ads. The one on the lower right shows how if you do have poor eyesight, it might contribute to juvenile delinquency. This is a ad actually appeared in Vision Care Products magazine, and it shows Alice Harvey in 1955 and in 2013 wearing the A.O. Schiaparelli frames. And she's, I think, from Brookfield, but a local here, and coming to the A.O. reunions, and we discovered she was a model at A.O. This photo showing the A.O. workers appeared in National Magazine as well, and we have monthly features now. So there's worldwide and national attention. Again, here's a Rockwell example of two of the Rockwell paintings. The one on the right of the card players is my favorite. We're working on inventorying the items in the museum and sharing that online in the future. It's a daunting task, but I'm thrilled we have a number of volunteers. You can find out more about the museum, sponsored by Zeiss, at opticalheritagemuseum.org. Included is a calendar of when we are open. And come on down. If you have any questions, my cell at 774-230-8016. And special thanks to everyone, especially Donna Silverberg, who's given about 7 years of volunteer work on this effort.